Before the sky had a nightlight, the world was a place of absolute, crushing darkness. The ancestors say the moon wasn't always a cold stone in the heavens. She was once a woman named Luma, and her story doesn't begin with a miracle, but with a crime of the heart. In the village of the Three Rivers, light was a rare gift, reserved only for the fires of the elders. But Luma was born different. When she cried as a babe, the shadows in the corner of the room retreated. As she grew, her skin held the luster of a polished river stone under a midday sun. The villagers whispered that she was touched by the spirits of the stars, but in a world that feared what it could not control, her beauty was seen as a dangerous omen. They say her heart burned so brightly it threatened to set the ancient laws of her people on fire. And in the village of the Three Rivers, breaking the law didn't just mean exile, it meant a soul debt that could never be repaid. Luma was promised to the great hunter, Kale. He was a man who moved like a shadow and spoke with the finality of a falling axe. He didn't want Luma for her light. He wanted her because a hunter must always own the rarest prize. His heart was as cold as a dry well in the harmattan season. To him, Luma was a lantern to be kept in a cage. But Luma's spirit belonged to another. Every night, when the village fires died down to embers, she would slip away to the place where the river whispers. There, she met Elian, the water-bearer. Elian didn't want to own her light. He wanted to reflect it. While Kale spoke of territories and kills, Elian spoke of the way the river remembers the mountains it has passed. Their love was a quiet rebellion. But as we know from the legend of Walmugymo, the earth has ears and the shadows have tongues. Kale began to notice the glow. He noticed the way Luma's eyes lingered on the horizon when the sun dipped low. He noticed the trail of glowing flora that led toward the river. He didn't confront them with anger. That would be too simple. Kale sought the counsel of the Shadow Weaver, a sorceress who lived in the hollow of a lightning-struck baobab. She is slipping away, Kale told the Weaver. She was never yours, the Weaver replied. She belongs to the sky. If you want to keep her, you must tether her soul to something that can never die. The Weaver gave Kale a curse, a tether made of frozen time. It was a cord of dark energy that would bind Luma to the earth forever, stripping her of her light and turning her into a common stone, so Kale could keep her in his garden for eternity. The night of the great eclipse, the trap was sprung. As Luma and Elian shared a final embrace, the torches of the village appeared like angry red eyes in the bush. Kale stepped forward, the dark tether pulsing in his hand. The law is clear, Luma. Kale's voice was like grinding stones. You have stolen yourself from the village. Now, the earth will claim its debt. He threw the tether, but as it flew through the air, Luma didn't scream. She didn't run. She looked at Elian, then at the suffocating darkness of the world around her. She realized that if she stayed, her light would be extinguished. If she died, the world would remain dark forever. She reached out and caught the dark tether with her bare hands. The ground shook with the ancestors' roar, that same deep, resonant thunder that heralds the birth of a legend. Luma began to rise. Her skin didn't turn to stone, it turned to pure, liquid silver. Her hair lengthened, trailing behind her like a river of stardust. Kale tried to grab her ankles, but his hands passed through her like smoke. She was no longer a woman. She was becoming a beacon. She rose higher than the spears could reach, higher than the weaver's curse, higher than the tallest mahogany tree. Luma ascended until she found her place in the center of the void. She became the moon, the silent, glowing eye of the night. She did it to save Elian from the hunter's wrath, and she did it so that no lover would ever have to meet in absolute darkness again. But the legend says that Luma still feels the pull of the earth. Once a month, she hides her face, the new moon, because the grief of missing the river's whisper becomes too much to bear. And once a year, during the blood moon, she turns red. The elders say that is Luma, still bleeding for the love she had to leave behind. Kale spent the rest of his days chasing her reflection in the puddles of the forest, a hunter who had finally lost the only thing that mattered. And Elian? He stayed by the river, singing to the sky, knowing that every time the moon rose, Luma was looking back at him. We all have a light within us that the world tries to cage. Some of us hide it, and some of us let it turn us into something eternal. If you had to choose between a life of silence with the one you love or an eternity of light but spent alone in the sky, which would you pick? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a little more light in their night. They said she was a curse. She became our only light. Before the sky had a night light, the world lived in a crushing, absolute darkness. In the village of the Three Rivers, a woman named Luma carried a secret that the elders feared and a great hunter claimed as his prize. But Luma's heart belonged to the water bearer, and her light was a fire that could not be caged. In this episode of Tales by the Fireside, we journey into an ancient legend of forbidden love, a shadow weaver's curse, and a celestial transformation that changed the night sky forever. Why does the moon turn red once a year? Why does it hide its face every month? The answer lies in Luma's sacrifice,